How's it going, Mr. Elder
Good morning, Devin. Nice to see you today. I'm glad you're here. Hey, if you want to take a seat, we're going to get out our notebooks and we're going to copy down today's agenda.
Nice.
Don't forget to copy down the guiding question as well.
What was the question again?
Today's question is, what is the role of DNA in inherited traits? So while everyone else is coming in, you can finish copying down today's guiding question and agenda in your notebook, and we will get started with our Do Now activity. Devin, did you get your agenda copied down already?
Yeah, I'm doing my best, Mr. Elder.
Okay, well, here is today's Do Now activity. I'm going to go around passing these out to everybody. And it is a forecasting worksheet. So it's basically just going to ask you to make some predictions about what you think we're going to learn today based on your previous knowledge.
Okay.
So just take a couple minutes to fill that out, and we will get started with the next activity in just a moment. Thank you. Okay, class, since you've had a few minutes to complete your forecasting worksheet, does anybody have any questions? Raise your hand if you do. Devin.
Yeah. My question is, heredity like what we get from our parents?
Yes, heredity is exactly like that. Heredity is the idea that traits are passed down from parents to offspring. Good, that's a great question. Thank you very much for asking. So, anybody else out there have questions? No? Okay, would anyone like to share their prediction for today's class about what we're going to learn? Raise your hand if you do, please. Devin, thanks for sharing again. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think we're going to review something about amino acids or something that has to do with genetic chain, because that was the last subject we did last chapter. So
nice. That's actually really good observation to think about what we've been learning in class and the direction the class is going. So it does have to do with amino acids, and that's sort of the nitty-gritty mechanisms of how DNA works when you get down to a very close level. For now, we're going to zoom out as a class, and we're going to look at the way that traits are passed from parents to offspring, and we're going to learn a bunch of vocabulary associated with it that helps us sort of describe the ideas that circulate around that general theme.
Oh, kind of like how if you get connected earlobes?
Yes, exactly like that. So that's cool that you already know about some of the traits, and thank you so much for sharing. That's fantastic. Okay, class, great job on the forecasting worksheet. So if you would put that in your notebook for now, we're going to move on to the next activity. We'll come back to that as part of today's exit ticket. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to learn some of the vocabulary associated with genetics. So in a moment, we're going to get out our Chromebooks and we're going to log onto Google Classroom, and you'll see that there is an activity in there for you to complete. It is an Edpuzzle. But first, I'd like to talk about the 5 most important pieces of vocabulary. So, can I get a volunteer to read these words on the board? Devin.
Sure. All right. I think we can say phenotype, genotype, allele, dominant, and recessive.
Okay, fantastic. That is a really good job of reading those words. You pronounced them all correctly. So I'm going to put this up on the whiteboard, and after we complete our Edpuzzle, we're going to fill this out as a class so that we have a reference of the most important academic language that we'll be working with. So now, please get out your Chromebook and open up Google Classroom and look at today's assignment, and you will see that there's an Edpuzzle waiting in there for you.
Yep, just another Edpuzzle.
Okay, everybody should be starting the Edpuzzle. Let me know if you have a hard time loading it or a hard time finding it.
My first year of teaching, well, over a decade ago, was an exciting time. It was also stressful because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but a bit of a messy, unable to decorate. My classroom had traits are passed down from parent to offspring. We think of
we talked about earlier.
Good job. Okay, so here's our first question.
What is heredity? Heredity is when traits are passed down from parent to offspring. Submit. Win.
Patterns on his body, his size, these traits are coded for in his DNA. Some of the traits he inherited can be influenced.
Which of the follow is not considered a trait?
Devin.
Yeah, I'm confused about this question. I don't understand it.
Let's see. It says, which of the following is not considered a trait? So there's 4 options, right? Would you read them for me real quick?
The color of Spike's scales, how long Spike is, the pattern on Spike's body, which genetics are in his DNA.
Okay, so another way to think about this is which things are expressed physically by Spike. So of these 4 options, 3 of them are expressed physically and the other one is not.
Yeah, so which genetics are in his DNA? That's what he, right?
Yeah, the genetics cause the trait, they are not the trait. So that was a great question and you got it right, so good job.
Organelle.
Oh, organelle. Would you read the whole thing again, understanding that the word is organelle?
In what organelle of the cell is the DNA found?
Okay, so this should be pretty easy because you think about back to earlier this year. Where is the DNA found?
In the nucleus.
Yeah, good job. Good job remembering, dude. Does anybody need more time on their ed puzzle? Are you guys still working on it?
No, I think I killed it, Mr. Ellis Rosen.
All right, good job. So, class, please put away your Chromebook and get out your textbook and your notebook. We're going to move on to the next activity.
Alright. What chapter are we on?
I think it's chapter 12, page 144.
Patterns of inheritance?
That is correct. So we are going to popcorn read around the room for a little bit, and then we are going to do the comprehension questions together. So I can ask for volunteers, or I can just go to my random generator on my Chromebook. So do I have any volunteers?
I guess. Gotcha. Alright, genetics distinguish between an organism's physical appearance, called its phenotype, such as a purple or white flowers, and its genetic makeup, called its genotype.
Nice job on the reading, everyone. I like the way that you guys volunteered. It was very helpful for class, good participation. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to define our key academic vocabulary that we just learned from the chapter. And I'd like to start with phenotype and genotype. So for phenotype, do I have any volunteers out there, someone who would like to try to break this down into student-friendly language?
Sure, why not?
Devin.
Alright, well, I guess phenotype just means like it's your physical appearance. So what we were talking about, like with the flowers, the pea flowers, it would be purple or white, right? So that's the phenotype.
That's exactly right. It's the physical appearance, and so it's the traits that are expressed. Since you did such a good job, how about genotype?
Sure, why not? Well, genotype's like your genetic makeup, right? So that's like, that would be like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. It's the genes that you're carrying. And so it's possible to carry genes without expressing them. For example, with Mendel's peas, there's a dominant and a recessive allele. If it is heterozygous, it will only express the dominant allele. That's why it's called dominant in the first place. So great job.
So purple would be dominant, or how does dominant, what does dominant